Imagine the bustling dock of Hidibi. Traders from the south unload sacks filled with rare aromas, cinnamon, cloves, pepper. In Wolin, archaeologists find these spices in wealthy burials, proving how precious they were. Nearby graze local sheep, providing tender lamb. Tabahaka was a dish reserved for special occasions. Time to gather everything. They used tender lamb on the bone, a stick of cinnamon, a touch of cloves, a few peppercorns, thick honey, and a pinch of sea salt. Spices were expensive and imported, each worth its weight in silver. In a hot iron cauldron, the lamb begins to sizzle, forming a golden crust. Then go in the cinnamon, cloves, and pepper. The aroma bursts open instantly. Honey and salt follow, slowly caramelizing into a thick, fragrant glaze. The smell alone could bring the whole household running. The cauldron simmers on low heat. The meat softens, the spices infuse every bite, and the sauce thickens into a dark, spicy sweet glaze. This kind of tabahaka appears in the Saga of Rolf, a feast dish for merchants and great gatherings. Traces of spices are even found in ancient cooking pots, a rare discovery. The dish is served hot in simple clay bowls. The taste feels like East and North telling one story. Honey sweetness, deep spice, and tender meat cooked slowly over fire. It's more than food. It's a journey through time, where the scents of faraway markets blend with quiet northern shores. In the morning, Hidibi's fishermen set out for cod and herring. By midday, their nets were already heavy. By evening, the fresh catch waited on shore, ready to become soup. Archaeologists see it clearly, heaps of fish bones around ancient hearths. Every dinner began at dawn. The table is set quickly. Fresh cod, a touch of smoked herring for deeper flavor, barley, wild onions, herbs, and salt, carried by coastal winds. It all seems simple, yet every ingredient carries the rhythm of people living at the mercy of the sea. The iron cauldron greets the fish with a sizzling breath, like the ocean exhaling. Onions and barley sink in, disappearing into warm depths. Water joins the dance, and the broth awakens, bubbling as if trying to tell a story. Dill in the finale adds freshness, like a gust of northern wind. The broth thickens, the fish softens, and every swirl carries the reflection of the sea. The cauldron glows from within, becoming the warm heart of the home. Old sagas call such soups the meal of seafarers, those who knew the taste of fog and long journeys. Archaeologists find traces of these very stews in ancient cauldrons. The soup is ladled into clay bowls. Steam rises gently, inviting the first breath. Taste it. This is more than food. This is a story of people, the sea, and the quiet strength of every northern evening. Imagine an early morning in the 9th century. Long stone and turf barns by the fjords. Thick mist, cows shifting their hooves in the quiet. This is where Vikings collected their white gold. Archaeologists at Lansu Meadows and Reykjavik recreated these barns. Spacious, cool, scented with hay and smoke. Milking was women's work. The wooden buckets found in Birka still carry traces of milk fat. The milk was rich and slightly spicy because the animals grazed on juniper-covered slopes. To make skyr, the milk was gently warmed in clay pots over the hearth, roughly to body temperature. They added a starter made from a bit of yesterday's skyr. It was a simple method, yet archaeology is precise. Lactic acid bacteria like Streptococcus and Lactobacillus did all the work. They hid the pots in the warmest corners of the longhouse or wrapped them in wool. After a day, the milk turned into thick, dense skyr. Then it was strained through linen cloth. Traces of such fabric are still imprinted on the walls of vessels from Kopang. Fresh skyr didn't keep long, so it was packed into oak barrels with tight-fitting lids. Such barrels were found in Burka and Greenland. Inside them, archaeologists discovered hardened layers of protein. The barrels were stored in icy cellars, pits cut into permafrost or deep snow shelters. Skyr was a true lifeline in winter, incredibly nutritious, rich in protein, calcium, and natural probiotics. Icelandic archaeological data shows almost no tooth decay among people of that era. Lactic acid protected their teeth better than any potion. And when a warrior returned from the sea, the first thing he tasted was a spoonful of skyr. One bite, the tang, the juniper, the smoke of the hearth, whispered to him, "You survived the storm. Now you are home." Early morning by the fjord. On the narrow land between the rocks, the Vikings grow cabbage and turnips, their future winter food. They fertilize the beds with seaweed, and the harvest grows firm, dense, and smelling of the sea. Archaeologists find small garden beds and stones marked with the Fehu rune. People once said it, called in a rich harvest. A marker or magic? You decide. With autumn came the main task, fermentation. Cabbage was sliced with a bronze knife and sprinkled with sea salt oiled down on the shore. Simple motions, perfected through centuries. They added juniper, dill, and sometimes rowan berries, the northern aromas and natural northern antiseptics. In winter, fermented foods saved Viking lives. Cabbage gave vitamins, salted meat gave strength. Archaeologists find barrels in almost every longhouse, food no one could survive the cold without. At Yule, they whispered an ancestor's name over the barrel, asking for endurance in the dark months. Not only vegetables went through fermentation. By the shore, they dug sea pits, deep, cold underground chambers. The bottom was lined with kelp. Above it, they layered meat, salt, seaweed, and more salt. Fish, mostly cod and herring, were dry salted in barrels. The sea's cold kept a steady 2 to 4 degrees, and after several months, the salted meat could last for years. In legends, crabs crawling into the pit were seen as the souls of drowned sailors checking the stores. If a crab dragged away a piece of meat, it meant the coming winter would be lean. Archaeologists, however, find only their shells trapped between the layers of salt. When winter arrived, all fresh food vanished. In the longhouses of Burka, in almost every second building, archaeologists find traces of barrels filled with salted meat and fermented cabbage. These were the provisions that protected people from sickness, hunger, and despair during the long northern nights.